Good evening, our esteemed viewers. Tonight is our first maiden show, the Race 2020, the first of its kind in the land. With me on the set, there are four gentlemen. On my far left is Honorable Achidri James, the MP of Maracha County. Thanks for joining us, Honorable, on this show.
Thank you. It's Maracha East.
Maracha East. And next to him is Honorable Leandra Komakech, the MP of Gulu Municipality.
Well, Gulu City now.
Gulu City now.
No, by Gazette, it's still
Gulu Municipality.
Gulu Municipality.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us on the show. And we have Honorable Hassan Kaps Fungaro, the MP of Obongi, representing the people of Obongi, Obongi County.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us too.
Thank you very much. I salute you all viewers and thank you for tuning in.
Well, this is, like I have told you, this is the first show of its kind in the land. It is the Race 2020, where we shall be discussing complex issues, breaking down in simple terms to the common man to understand. And we shall be tackling a lot of politics here, all to do with the 2021 polls. Now, I always have to start with you, Honorable Achidri. You came to Parliament on the NRM ticket. And this week, you broke the silence. Of course, we know you have been putting on the red beret. But all of a sudden this week, you told us that you have thrown in the towel, and now you're going to contest as an independent. What were the push factors? Why did you decide to leave the NRM, a party whom you hold its ticket in the House? Now you want to come as an independent.
Very good evening, listeners. Thank you for that question. Of course, everybody will be asking why I've left what is called the mighty party. Because everybody wants to join the bus. But I prefer that as people join the bus, I'll exit the bus. It emanates from what has transpired in the 10th Parliament. You know, the 10th Parliament has been a parliament that was charged with the responsibility to shape the political transition in this country. And frankly, we have not done the job to the expectation of Ugandans. Personally, as an area MP for Maracha East County, I consulted my people, and they clearly gave me the opinion regarding the amendment of Article 102B, which article will have effectively stopped President Museveni from running for the 2021 polls. And when I genuinely represented them by presenting their views in Parliament, I was termed a rebel. How do I rebel against my people? How do I rebel against my constitution of the country? Article 1 of the Constitution clearly states that power belongs to the people. NRM has a contradiction and believes that power belongs to the party. So how do I go to Maracha, spend all the time, spend the 29 million shillings which the Parliament of Uganda gave to us to do consultations, and along the way around Karuma?
But did you pick the money?
Well, 29 million shillings was from the consolidated fund. It was given to every MP. It was legitimate money because the Right Honorable Speaker realized that to amend Article 102B, it required consultations, and that involved costs. And by the way, for your information, from the ruling, the constitutional ruling in Mbale, where we expected to account for that money, I will account to it in every detail. because indeed I used it to consult my people. And they gave me their view that don't touch Article 102B. So NRM expected me, on my way back to Kampala, to drop the people's ideas around Karuma, and when I arrive in Parliament, I come and do something else. That does not define me as somebody who is representing the views of his people. And that is the reason why I've been called a rebel. So therefore, I realized, although one of the core values of the NRM party is democracy, the space for critical thinking is shrinking. President Museveni is on record. He was in Jinja, stating in a by-election that I'll prefer an NRM MP who is sleepy and sick than a very active opposition. So, what is the essence of coming to Parliament to represent your people when actually you come and trade their views for other reasons? So this is a contradiction that I had to eventually resolve by leaving the yellow bus.
Did you get unanimous consent from your electorates for you to take the path that you have taken?
It was overwhelming. It was overwhelming. Actually, my people, up to now, have stated that there is no reason to castigate me in the party because it is their views that I brought to Parliament. It is their views that I brought. It is their views that I brought to Parliament. And that is why I've not joined the rest of the so-called rebel MPs in going to seek apology from President Museveni.
But
because, listen, for me to apologize for the views of the people of Maracha East, who clearly told me to tell President Museveni Article 102B must not be removed from the Constitution, it will require the President, to pick a helicopter and go and seek for that apology from the people in Maracha.
Can I know from you, did you pick the over 100 million that was given to you and others for the issue of Article 102B?
In fact, it's not only 100 million, it is more than 100 million. Taxpayers have suffered in the cause of amending this constitution.
Did you get the money?
I have never, and I will never.
Are you on record?
I am on record. I have never signed anywhere. After all, these monies are not even paid in a very transparent way. Why should I trade the views of my people?
But we saw some of your colleagues, they instructed their banks that this money be returned. To the best of my recollection,
which money?
The over 100 million that we are talking about had been returned to the consolidated funds. So I would like to know from you, to the best of my recollection, I don't think that I saw your name among the names of MPs who instructed their banks to return that money.
Let me clarify to you. The money that we use for consultation is the 29 million shillings, which was given from the consolidated fund. And in fact, Justice Kakuru wanted us to account for it. From his ruling in the Constitutional Court, he wanted the MPs to account for it. And frankly, up to now, I can account for that money. That's the only money I received, and we used it to consult the people. And that's the views that I brought to Parliament. The rest of the monies, which have been changing hands within the NRM party, I have no business, and I don't want to be part of it.
So I have been seeing you in the House putting on the red beret.
Yes.
Meaning that at one point, you went into people power. But it was shocking that again you made a U-turn.
People power, people confuse what is called people power.
What happened?
People power is Article 1 of the Constitution. So long as we still have the 1995 Constitution, everybody believes in people, power. Actually, the Red Beret was operationalizing Article 1 of the Constitution. That is people power. It's not a political movement. It is about saying that power belongs to the people. Power does not belong to political parties. That is all. It's not about an association. It's about believing in the Constitution. That's all. That's why we used the red ribbons during the age limit debate. Bobby Wine transformed it into a beret. But it's a symbol which illustrates that we will defend the Constitution with our blood.
Why not go to DP, FDC, or NUP?
Because all political parties have their problems. I'm just coming out of a political party where the belief is that if you put on yellow, because it resembles the prisoner's uniform, you're almost like a prisoner. You are not asked to think. You are just supposed to follow. I've just come out of that. I've just extracted myself out of that difficult situation in which you cannot think independently. You cannot critique policies. You cannot be given room to provide alternative ideas because it is a few individuals who must drive you in the bus. I've just come out of that. Why do you want me to again jump into another confusion? I would rather stand for Uganda as James Achid.
We are yet to come to you. Have a lot of issues to answer.
Thank you.
Let me go to Honorable Leandra Kumakechi. You come from the Democratic Party.
Yes.
You have seen many of your colleagues have moved on to join NUP, the National Unity Platform. I understand that you are now about 5 MPs. What does this mean to the Democratic Party, losing such a credible and huge numbers of MPs?
Well, thanks, moderator and my colleagues. The Democratic Party was founded in 1954. And by the way, the idea was mooted from Gulu, in a place called St. Joe, where Engineer Kasolo was working in the Ministry of Works. They sat with a few members. One of them, I remember, was Gennaro Doke. And then there was a priest who helped them, because by that time there was a lot of division, that teachers that belonged to a certain religious groups were not supposed to benefit from the British interest. Now that is what prompted Engineer Kasolo to come to Kampala, sold the ideas to others who were suffering in Kampala, and said, since we are all suffering, let's turn this Teachers Association into a party. So that's how it was founded. And they said, we shall fight for truth and justice. And of course, from 54 to 58, that was when Ben Chiwanoka took it up and ran the first self-government. Now, from independence to 64, we witnessed the first exodus. By the way, this is not an exodus. The first exodus.
If it's not an exodus, then what is it?
What took place in 1964 is what I call an exodus, because there were 20. These ones were 10. 20 in 1964, when we were only 2 years after independence. And the person who led the whole crossing was none other than the leader of opposition, Bataringaya, who later went with the water. When they reached there, the kitchen also became very hot. By 67, everybody scattered. So it is not the first time the Democratic Party has witnessed one of these painful experiences. This is, I would call this is the third time, because in 64 it happened. Thereafter we lost our leader in 1972, whose body today has not been found. Now, when you look at the period during Idi Amin's time, parties never operated. 1980, we come back. We start again. From 80 to 85, everything went upside down. Now, when President Museveni came, You remember that 1980 they said election was stolen, in which we are still to receive even the Commonwealth report to date. They never produced the report of 1980.
But addressing yourself,
I'm just giving you this so that we contextualize the question you have asked. And from that period, it was only Najuli, who was the chairman of DP of a sub-county called Makulobita in Luero, who signed a memorandum of understanding with the then rebel leader, Museveni, who became the president of Uganda in 1986. That is the second phase, when we saw, again, the Democratic Party coming in to join the NRM government, which was called Government of National Unity, the movement. Then 86.
That was with Paul
Mogere.
Yeah. So 86, I mean, 1996, Mogere gets out. Out of also tough pressures which were being given by the DP mobilizers group. And ran for president. So we left so many members in NRM. We left so many. It's not about now crossing. They just remained there. Kafumbe Mukasa.
People like Gerald Sendaula.
Gerald Sendaula, Victoria Sektoleko, Kazibwe,
Maria
Mutagamba, so many.
So are you trying to justify that it's okay, it's healthy
what we are saying,
for the confusion in DP?
No, there's no confusion. You see, it is members of the party. If you choose to be a member of the party, understand the constitution, the values of that party, and carry it forward. But in a situation where in your mother's house, instead of strengthening your homestead, you're busy looking at, smelling the neighbor's aromas and saying, I think food the other side is better, then it will take you a long time to prepare your homestead. So for us, I think it was the chief whip, that is the Honorable Seuno, who is the commander of the armed forces of the party in parliament. Now, if you see the commander surrendering,
defecting to the other side,
and you, the foot soldiers who are following, you start wondering what is going on, then you know there's a problem.
and indeed there is a problem.
Now, for us who fight from the backside, the artillery group, we saw the commanders moving. Then we said, what's wrong? In the military, such people would just be put for firing squad. But in politics, we said, well, since political parties organizations law allows free entry and exit, if you find out that the other organization has better aspiration for you, it is okay. After all, parties, by the way, I've never operated in Uganda for a long time. So I think it is good for those who find that they are uneasy in a particular place, let them go and sort out whether the other side can be better. And just like,
But is that how political parties are supposed to be managed? Because I thought that you are supposed to fix situations in your own house.
But
because when you hear reasons that are being advanced by the DP bloc that defected the other end, these are simple issues that should be solved by a party that has a credible leadership.
But if someone cannot wait for organs of the party to say, what do you do? Because we are supposed to have a delegates conference coming. And then you renew the leadership, you seek for running the party itself if you would like. So for me, I thought it was not a well thought through.
4 years down the road, you have failed even to call a national delegates conference of the party.
No, it is supposed to be called
Really?
after every 5 years.
No, midway, I understand.
No,
you are supposed to make a flashback.
You are extremely wrong. You read the party constitution. I think you are not aware of our party.
Are you aware of the court ruling? There was a court ruling also to that effect, to the confusion to do with the leadership.
The court ruling was about National Council, which was done. It was done. National Council sat and deferred actually filling in gaps. They said, since it is only 3 months to go, let's go for the delegates conference. Then COVID comes. And of course, others went to court. When they went to court, the court said, but you shoot the wrong party. There is no party called Democratic Party of Uganda. It's only called Democratic Party. So they lost the case.
Why do you find it difficult?
You know?
Why do you find it difficult not to observe the SOPs, and you handle that issue in a very scientific manner.
It is coming on the 10th to 12th. If you are aware, it is coming. So that is why we said that this little patient should have been held. Many have dissatisfaction. So if you have dissatisfaction, wait for the organs of the party, and then say, okay, for me, I am here as an answer to this problem. And then put yourself there instead of taking off. Because I understand when those who took off the other side, again got fired the other side. So now where do you run?
They had gone for a meal card.
And I hope that answers your question.
No.
When they went the other side, 2 have been sacked. Instantly. It is not even 2 weeks old.
We shall be discussing their personality and
credibility. Like that,
let me go.
It's not good.
No. Let me first go for Honorable Hassan Kaps Mungaro. Well, I understand that also the FDC is like a worm-eaten house now. Total confusion. People are running out of the party. What's not going on? Is it because KB Kiza Besigye is on the run?
That I can join.
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother. First of all, the Forum for Democratic Change, as a political party, was formed not long ago. In 2004, I am a founder member of the FDC. I was from the Reform Agenda, particularly the Reform Agenda Youth League, and the Reform Agenda joined together with other political organizations, 3 of them to constitute what is now called the FDC. I've seen the FDC grow. I've seen the FDC meeting challenges. It is, as a party, for free exit, free entry and free exit. Now, the statement that people are leaving the FDC is too much of a generalization. There are those who are leaving, there are also those who are coming in. So those who have left, we say thank you for being with us and bye-bye, we wish you well. For those who are coming in, we say thank you for joining us, you are welcome. Now, you know of people who have left FDC and formed the political parties of their own or joined other political parties. For example, I remember Honorable Betty Kamia. We expected her to be here with us, and I was going to ask her here if she's watching our show today, show tonight.
You never know, she may walk into the studio.
Yeah, let her come. She was one person who was a founder member. She left the FDC and formed her own political party, where she was the president, the overall party leader. And from there, she left that party and joined the NRM. We remained, and today we are still here. After her, other prominent people who have left, and people do talk about them today, include the retired Major General Mugisa Muntu. He left and formed another political party called the Federal Alliance for National Transformation. And we also wish him well. He is joining the struggle and maintaining it from the other side. We also have people who have joined us. For example, in Kampala here, the Lord Mayor, His Worship Honorable Lukwago Arias has joined us. In West Nile, where I've been organizing and mobilizing, opening offices, we also received the people, a large number of them. Some of them were not published on the TV, the radios, or social media, but I can give you some examples. In Koboko North, we have Honorable Oka Rasul, a formidable politician in Koboko politics. He's been serving as the LC3 chairman of Ludara Sub-County, and he's also going to run for the seat of Koboko North. That's somebody coming in. In Obongi,
what's the problem?
In Obongi,
address yourself to the problem.
We have also people.
What's the problem?
There is no problem that
when you are having Kasese, which is a stronghold base of the FDC, yeah. You are having Winnie Kiza taking her own path. You're having your own Mbaju Jackson being knocked, and now he's also preparing to come as an independent. He no longer wants to hear stories of the FDC. You have Centenary also, who has developed a cold feet. He's also running as an independent. The Elgon Rangers, I'm meant to understand, over 10 members of the FDC are not going to contest. They're considering coming as an independent, leaving Nandala Mafabi alone.
What is very important is the stand of the people. I start with the ones of Kasese. Have the people of Kasese shown you that they have left the FDC?
They have.
No. The people and the leaders are different. The leaders are picked out of the people. If the people of Kasese want to maintain the FDC, they will find amongst them people whom they will elect to parliament on the FDC ticket. It is still too early to say that Kasese is no longer a stronghold of the FDC. My sister Honorable Winnie Kiza, I respect her, and I worked with her very well when she was in the FDC and also when she was the leader of the opposition. I respect her a lot. She decided not to contest to come to parliament. And if she has joined another political party, there's no problem with that. What is a question to us is, will FDC find a person to replace Kiza, Honorable Kiza, on the FDC ticket in the elections of 2021? That is the time you can measure and conclude whether the FDC is still there in Kasese as a strong party or not. Secondly, for us as the FDC, we know our struggle is a tough one. And like many other struggles which we have seen around the...
But is it a major blow?
It's not
the exit of Winnie Kiza?
No, it is not. She made a contribution, and her contribution cannot be subtracted from the FDC. She was, first of all, up to date. She was a member of the FDC, and because of that one number, FDC was considered as the leading opposition party in the parliament. The number constitutes the strength of the party. So our contribution is still there. In this 10th parliament, FDC is still regarded as the leading opposition party. That's why the leader of the opposition is still from the FDC, Honorable Beta Wall. Now, for us, we know that opposition politics are not easy. Someone who chooses to go to the opposition leaves all comforts and goes to areas of discomfort, leaves all areas of enjoyment. You go to face difficulties, including death, threats of death. These things have happened to all of us. So those who have left, we wish them well, and we thank them for the contributions they have made. Those who are there must stick to the direction. And now to the retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besigye, the fact that he's not contesting is not also a problem. Look at the ANC. Mandela, may his soul rest in internal peace, was not the first leader of the ANC. Mandela was not the founder of the ANC. There were other people who founded the ANC. They struggled and left. Mandela was just a youth who joined the ANC in the youth wing of Mkonto or Swize. But he became the president that took the ANC to power. So retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besigye has made his mark and his contribution. We salute him for that. He has left. Our task as leaders, as young leaders, is to pick up the stick, the real stick from him, and take the party to victory. So I would like to urge the members of the Forum for Democratic Change to do two things. One, to remember and honor the contribution of retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besigye as a candidate and as a leader of the party, and the contribution of all other people, including those who have completely left the struggle and joined the NRM or the other political parties.
Do you see challenges?
Secondly, they should also take the mantle and lead the party to victory.
Do you see challenges ahead of the FDC without the name of Dr. Kiza Besigye on the ballot paper?
We have to live with the challenges. You see, it happens even in a situation of war. When is someone, a commander for that matter, is lost in the field, it throws a big responsibility on those young people, on those people who are there, the soldiers following him. There must arise out of the masses another leader or a group of leaders to take up the flag and continue with the fight. This is the best thing you can do. The best honor you can give to Dr. Besigye is to keep the struggle alive. The best honor you can make, the big sacrifice you can make, is to take the FDC to victory. And this you can do not by mourning, not by looking backwards, but by looking forward. For me, I respect and honor Dr. Besigye, but I, as a person, feel that I can only reward him by taking the FDC to victory. This is the best thing to do.
Well, let me go back to Honorable Achidri. Well, you have been describing yourself as a prisoner, that you cannot suffer twice, putting on a yellow uniform of, you preferred calling it the prisoner's uniform. But I understand that you come from a constituency that is an NRM stronghold base. How are you going to pull off the show?
Well, that assumption or assertion will be proven with the 2021 general elections. They're thinking that NRM is mighty and it's everywhere. We're going to put it to test because I represented the views of my people. I was termed a rebel, so it is up to my people to judge my performance. Whether I've done the right things for them to return me to the 11th Parliament, or whether they will stop me from representing them because I've jumped off the bus. That decision will be made in 2021. All we are trying to do is we are trying to ensure the elections are free and fair. That is all. The rest we shall be discussing with you mid-February or whenever the elections will be conducted. But I can assure you that our people strongly believe in principles. They strongly believe in honesty and the truth. One thing I cannot afford to do as a representative of the people is to trade their views for money. I will never do that. The fact that people elect you to represent them doesn't mean that you have the mandate to abuse that opportunity. We have come a long way, particularly those of us who stood with our people. We were expected to succumb to what I'll call oppression, intimidation, and even victimization, as well as enticement with the money. But that's not why I came to Parliament. I didn't come to Parliament to trade the views of my people. Thank God, during the age limit debate, it was broadcast live. The records are clearly in the Hansard. You can imagine a honorable member of Parliament going to the extent of extending his or her stay in Parliament without consulting the people.
Well, Honorable Achidri, there's no democracy here. Let us first go in for a short break, and when we return, we shall proceed with that. Yeah. Let's go in for a short break.
miss Mr. Leonard Mulekwa, the acting secretary at the Electoral Commission, in a face-to-face conversation with Elijah Tuliagumanawe, dissecting pressing issues on the road to 2021 general elections. Tune in this Friday at exactly 7 a.m. East African Standard Time on the 28th August.
Hey guys, you're watching STV. Select for fun.
Well, back to you, Honorable Achidri. You are talking about people extending their terms. And what are you doing?
Well,
I thought that even you would be saying that enough is enough.
no,
I've failed to deliver to the expectations of my people.
The point
I hand over to someone else.
The point I was making is during the age limit debate, even something that we didn't consult became an issue to be voted upon. And all of a sudden, MPs voted for a 7-year period in parliament instead of the mandated 5 years for which they were elected. That is the level to which leaders are abusing the mandate of the people. It's all about survival. It's no longer about the country. It's about survival. Can I stay longer in parliament? Will I be able to get more money? This kind of politics cannot take Uganda anywhere. And these are the issues that...
Isn't that an indictment that even you personally, you failed to play your role?
Well,
on you.
I never voted for 7-year extension. I am on record. I was one of those who never voted for the 7-year extension. MPs were deceived by the Attorney General that you have the powers to do it. But you saw what happened in the Constitutional Court. They were told to go back. Many of the MPs who have gone back to look for votes ideally should be waiting for 2023. Because that is what they voted for. The voters will be telling them your elections are in 2023.
But
2021 is not for you. I'm on record.
When are you stepping out of active politics?
I will step out of active politics at an appropriate time. I've just served 1 term in parliament. I'm doing a 2nd term.
Is that enough for
probably.
you?
I'm doing a 2nd term, probably in parliament. At my age, I want to see that we are able to promote the politics of honesty and truthfulness. Most importantly, we must have principles.
You know, politics is like it's like playing football.
Yes.
However good you are, when you are playing amidst bad players, you are regarded as a bad player too.
Well, that's exactly.
Why don't you step aside and you leave the journey to those who can manage?
That is exactly one of the reasons.
Who can change the game?
That is exactly one of the reasons I've extracted myself out of the yellow bus, because that is the first attempt in ensuring that you are not part of the smell. You see, there's nobody who swims in sewage deliberately. It's until you jump in sewage that you realize that it is smelling. So you will never want to remain in that sewage.
So you are convinced that when you come back as an independent,
yes,
you will make it to change the playing field?
If I am an independent member of parliament, I should be able to represent this country without being pushed around by a political party that believes in individuals.
So this time around, you are not presenting. You are not representing your country.
We have struggled. My colleagues, Honorable Kumaketa and Honorable Caps Fungaro, will tell you what happens in Parliament. Some of us, when we rise up to speak in Parliament, particularly from the NRM side, everybody is saying, but you're NRM. How can you say that? Eh? There's a lot of hostility.
There is
a lot of hostility because they say you are carrying our flag. But the truth is, Uganda is bigger than NRM. NRM came in 86. Uganda was there before. NRM will go. Uganda will remain. Even Maracha, which I represent. Achidu will go. Maracha will remain. So the idea that politics is a game.
That is the essence of party caucus. When you go in a party caucus and you agree on a certain position, whether good or bad, that's what you come.
We clearly disagreed.
And you represent on the floor of Parliament.
For your information.
You don't come and
for your information, we
talk to the contrary.
For your information, we disagreed in party caucus. I was one of the few who walked out in the presence of President Museveni when they were trying to discuss the age limit amendment. We were challenged by the government chief whip that those of you who are opposing this idea, why are you here? Before the meeting started. And I walked out. Until then, I've never looked back.
Let me go to Honorable Leandra Kumaket. Honorable Leandra, the DP, what plans do you have on table as we work in the 2021 elections? Are we seeing the DP fronting a presidential candidate?
Yes, let me get back to you. The roadmap of the Democratic Party is out. If you went to tomorrow, today, you would have seen it.
Speak for it. It's the reason that you are here.
No, what I'm saying is, the roadmap is there, and on the 10th to 12th is when the party will open its delegates conference. The delegates conference is going to decide. Those who are going to contest are going there, and it is in Gulu. For the first time, it's going to be in Gulu. So what is going on is about the scientificness now. How do you engage a number that is responsive to pandemic? Because we should not, because the party actually is 2,000 delegates, but you cannot call 2,000 delegates in this pandemic. But the constitution allows at least a quorum to be realized. That is what the NEC is doing. I don't sit in the NEC. I sat in NEC for 10 years with the Semokeres in those early times as a youth leader. For now, I'm the acting whip. As you remember, the 10 left all their O's on the field. So we are the 5 with the O's now. So the roadmap of the party is very clear.
But also you deserve an indictment. If you were the whip, no. Did you whip your colleagues very well?
No, it's the whip
no,
after
I am just the acting whip. You know, I took over when they left.
Yes.
So as a private, now I had to be promoted full to a whole brigadier. Okay, they left us in the field. And what could we do? We had to gather their hoes, put them there, and then continue digging. So we are there. The 5 of us are there, very committed, and we are working together very well with the FDCs, with all the parties in opposition.
Including
how do you claim that you are working together when you cannot even agree on fronting a single candidate?
No, I think that is coming. You have heard of this week that there is a beginning of a discussion around coalition building. But this will depend on how parties shall have sorted out their in-house democratization process. Then the next step is, can we sit and talk? Because that has been on the agenda for very long. But it is only when the parties have renewed their leaders. And I know it is coming.
You are from the FDC. Do you buy into that idea?
The idea of?
Are you seeing the FDC either surrendering the mantle to a DP?
It's not about surrendering.
It's not about surrendering.
You see, there are alliance.
Let me tell you this. Leaders emerge. It is situations that throw up leaders. When it reaches the point where Ugandans see that this is the person to rally behind, your parties, this and that will disappear. People will just come automatically and follow that leader. Yeah. What I'm seeing here is this. Every day that passes tells Ugandans that things are bad, change is necessary. Even in NRM today, there is a lot of doubt about the continuity of the party of NRM. People of NRM are seeing the necessity of even someone picking from President Museveni in the next regime. So this is the right time for us to think about a coalition. This is the right time for us to think about a common leader with a common agenda for all of us to bring the desired change Ugandans are looking for. So what he is saying is perfectly in order. There's no problem.
And it has been done before, 1996,
Yes.
UPC
Yes.
with the DP that they thought would not even come together.
Yes.
They came together.
Yes.
It was only the propaganda of NRM that Obote is in Tororo.
Okay.
We are-
scaring away people from the south. That one works.
Another-
I need to give you this
in
model.
Uganda, even me, I will give you information. I do understand the politics of alliance does not work in Uganda.
That is-
And I hope that you should
that's
not
a
keep
very
on
strong
hoodwinking
statement.
Ugandans that you can make an alliance and you come up with a single candidate. You saw what happened in the 60s. You saw the outcomes of the KY and the UPC. By 1965, by 1966, you saw what were the outcomes. We have had several alliances that are even including armed rebellion alliances that brought, that got Amini off, the outcomes of them. So it's historically known. Alliances do not work in the politics of Uganda.
They worked. They worked in the
They
past.
cannot.
No, they worked.
The TDA, wasn't it an alliance? What happened to it?
You see, my brother, they worked. You talked about what happened.
Give me one successful political alliance in Uganda.
If the purpose of the alliance was to have the regime removed, if the purpose of the alliance was to bring a group to power, then the Kabaka Yeka and the UPC alliance worked because it enabled the UPC or the team to take over government. Without that government, that alliance, His Excellency, Dr. Paulo Milton Obote would not have been the president. So it worked.
Another example.
Secondly,
It did pass.
Another example is for Yoweri Museveni to capture power.
yes,
He had to seek alliance with the Uganda Federal. Was it Federal Movement of the late Freedom of late Andrew Kaira?
including UNRF.
That's how he got support within Uganda,
Yes.
even with
Yes.
DP.
Yeah.
While DP was sitting in parliament, they were also.
I do not want to
That's how he
go.
became president.
I do not want to go in a. Hold on.
You see the
I do not
thing
want to
here
go into what were the outcomes of
It was an
it.
alliance.
I don't want to go into what were
The
the outcomes of it.
the UNLF was an alliance of
What were
NASA,
what were the
Kosmulu.
outcomes? Were they sustainable?
That is another.
No, but
Were they sustainable?
it depends on the
You asked
objectives.
if they will
It is the
Yeah.
objectives.
The
He stated it
objective-
was the objectives.
The objective-
The
What
objective
I
was
want-
to remove Idi Amin.
and
It
it
worked.
worked. To bring
And
about
that's
and
how
did
the
it work?
objective was to remove Obote. It
After
worked.
after removing Idi Amin, did it work? Was it sustainable?
But
After Idi Amin,
that was another matter.
the objective was already achieved.
No, you cannot say that.
Everyone
That's
had to
another
move.
matter.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are trying to find a solution.
No.
That's what you should.
No.
That's what you should be.
The
discussing.
Mosi conference delivered liberation in Uganda. That was it. An alliance.
Did it work? Did it work?
It worked.
Maybe
What were the results of it?
My brother,
So
if the alliances were to be formed in such a way that they remain permanently, it means maybe the thing of multipartyism will disappear. But if it is only that let's get into this group, this alliance, to take us from point A to point B. After getting to point B, if you don't continue being together, you would have achieved the objective. So for us now, if an alliance is formed to remove President Museveni from power, and President Museveni and NRM is removed and replaced with another government, even if it's only for one day,
That's it. It
it's
has
okay.
worked.
That is just
what assurance do you have that if an alliance is formed tomorrow, that it will work? Yet we have, the country runs on history and precedents. Just here in 2015, you had TDA. What happened to it?
TDA
So
never even.
the current analysis that we have with the opposition in Uganda, it speaks volume that these guys cannot even make an alliance.
I think TDA is a wrong example. TDA
very
never
wrong.
worked.
You cannot.
It
TDA
was a
never
very wrong
worked.
example.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
look at this. Another problem I have to tell you is this. What the opposition should know is, in politics, there's what is called infiltration, where you go into the camp or you send people from your camp to the camp of your opponent or your enemy to learn from them or disorganize them internally. President Museveni is very good in doing this.
And why are you not good on doing it?
Because
we are seeing Museveni is pushing from your party.
For example, if we form ourselves into an alliance, President Museveni will recruit people, sponsor them, and contest against himself. You remember there was a gentleman called Ochegere.
Yeah.
Ochegere.
Who became an ambassador?
Ochegere is an ambassador now. So even if all of us, if all of us from DP, FDC, now NUP, National Unity Party, and all these opposition groups come together and field one candidate, you'll find there will be many candidates from the side of the opposition. Some of them are not genuine candidates. They will be just fake candidates sponsored by Museveni to pose and talk like members of the opposition to confuse people. This is the problem. Actually, the biggest task we have now
are you admitting that
we shall have a genuine change agenda and a genuine change program?
So are you trying to admit that you have a resemblance of one opposition in Uganda, but
we
not
have
opposition?
We are in opposition by law and by form. We are in opposition to the government because we don't believe. We don't share in the predominant view of the ruling party. That's what an opposition is. So for us, what we know is, for sure, there are challenges that we face. We as an opposition, we are not competing with any equal opponent. NRM is not
but for sure, Honorable Caps.
Look at these weaknesses. The things which affect the opposition do not come from the fact that they don't have a single candidate. The NRM goes to elections with the military on their side. You compete with an armed person. The army, the police, all the intelligence services give support to the NRM. Secondly, you compete with money. The Bank of Uganda,
even without talking about the military and so on.
Politics. So these things, and yet listen to this.
I would listen.
Where the problem
I would listen to that argument if it was DP or NUP advancing it. But
Why?
listen, with the FDC,
yes.
Honorable Caps,
Yes.
Ugandans have entrusted you with votes of victory, like twice. But we know that the problem within the FDC has been vote protection.
Now, that is where
you have failed to protect the vote that Ugandans give you to take you to power.
That is what
so
I'm
the
saying.
The issue
exactly.
of the military does not arise in this
The protection
argument.
you are talking about was in the area where there was rigging. And rigging, of course, takes place using the military. You have heard about the cases where there were electoral violence. Cases of electoral violence, they bring in the army to beat up people. They bring in the army to the police to stop leaders of the opposition from accessing radio stations.
So what happened in the previous elections?
And other
you
leaders.
had 7 districts in Uganda where you never had polling agents. How do you account?
You see,
people gave you votes in the 7 districts, and it's on record. But you never had polling agents there.
This is from the abnormality of the kind of opponent you are facing. The NRM is not a democratic party by all standards. The NRM is a revolutionary front. Other parties are civilian democratic parties. NRM is not. NRM came with a military wing called NRA. They have not discharged all these people. The NRA, which has been transformed into the UPDF, has infiltrated all the spheres of life. They are in parliament as MPs. The only living country in this region with the military officers and men in parliament as MPs. They are in the police. But you see the deputy inspector, first listen to this. The deputy inspector of police, General Sabit Mzee, is not a policeman by training. And he's in the police, taking charge of the police. And he's not alone. If you see him there, you know that there are
but I think, Honorable Caps, the FDC would be in a better position to play the ball better than any of the political parties. Because most of the top hecklons of the FDC, until about a month ago, these have been people who were part of the revolutionary game plan of the NRM.
Okay.
But these are guys who have failed to play the ball to State House.
You are telling us that
to State House.
Yes,
so you cannot blame the NRM.
Yeah, but by your statement you are saying General Mugisa Muntu, Major General Mugisa Muntu, who was a soldier, should have used the army to protect the voice of the FDC. You are telling us that Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, who was a soldier, should have used the army just like President Museveni used the army. Now,
No, I'm not saying them using the army. I'm not saying them using that. They should be on the top of the game to know what their colleagues are doing the other end.
You see, they knew it, and up to now we know it. And only
And
we are
then
telling
what
people
has
that
failed?
now look at these people here, the way you are doing your things.
Yeah.
You are doing it wrongly. You are enticing people to say, okay, if you want to compete with NRM on equal basis, you must have your own army on your side. You must have your own police. You must have your own money. You see, this is and this one spoils the game. You see,
You have a lot of issues to
the way forward is this. By the way, it may get to that at the end of the day.
You have a lot of answers.
The way forward is either President Museveni and all those in NRM leave the army, or they are telling the people that, okay, if you are coming competing with us, you come with your own army. They are either they leave the issue of money, or they are telling us that, okay, if you want to compete with us, you make your own money, you make your own bank of Uganda, where you carry money in the banks.
I think
The commercialization of politics, the militarization of politics is the problem that is facing the democratization process in Uganda.
But every time one walks into an election, you need to know that you need money. You cannot walk in an election with mere words.
But money for what? Money to buy people, and you want
Not buying
like
people.
That?
Not buying people.
I mean, this is what they are doing.
You
Now,
must have money to enable you move from point A to point B.
Let me tell you something.
You must have money to enable you print posters.
Let me tell you
must
something
have
which
money
is
to
happening.
enable you facilitate your agents to move here and there to canvass for your votes.
Let me tell you something which is happening even now, and which is very bad. The FDC cards, membership cards, in Obongi constituency, my constituency of recent, are sold. They are bought from the FDC members at the cost of 200,000 shillings per a card. A card which we give at 1,000. And the NRM has sent people. There is a guy called Tabani Obolo. He masquerades that he's from a team from NRM Secretariat, and he goes around saying that you give me your card of FDC, I pay you 200,000. And indeed, he pays. He moves with a lot of money.
Isn't that a weakness in the FDC?
No, you see,
if you cannot manage to panel beat your own supporters
that one
against the enemy forces,
I'm giving you
isn't
an
that
example.
a weakness that calls for reorganization of the FDC?
I'm giving you an example that this is what is bad in the use of money. And for us, as the FDC, and Nobong, you have
Honorable
this.
Caps, I think let me come in a bit.
Yes.
On the issue of panel beating party members and so on, you know that there's also what we call state-induced poverty in this country.
Yes.
Deliberately keeping people at a certain level.
All
programs aimed at addressing poverty, whether it's alleviation, whether it is eradication or what. They are deliberate. Listen,
are you confirming that this is what was done for you to come to Parliament on the NRM ticket?
Can you listen that because these programs have failed?
No.
People are desperate.
You
cannot say that
can you answer my question?
FDC must panel beat its members.
When
there is a state-imposed poverty.
That is the reality. But
when
my
there is state-imposed poverty, deliberate. You see operation failing.
Honorable Achidwe, you cannot start saying now that after picking a disagreement with the NRM, now you are in a better position to speak about what used to go in there.
We have never.
When you were still a darling inside there.
Actually, for your information,
you enjoyed the same favor.
Actually, for your information, in the 5 years or the 4.5 years now of my tenure in Parliament, we have been critical about these policies. If you have been following our debate in Parliament, we have been consistently telling NRM this is not working. This policy is failing, and that's exactly one of the reasons why I'm saying.
Let me first speak for my brother here, Honorable Achidwe. First of all, Honorable Achidwe, at the time he came to Parliament and stepped on the floor of Parliament, everybody who saw him speaking judged that this man sounds like a member of the opposition.
Some of them say you're UPC.
Actually, they say Achidwe was internally displaced in the politics of Uganda because he never reasoned like NRM right from the start.
Yes.
And his constituency, his place, being in West Nile, a marginalized area, yes, an area which has suffered for so long in terms of development, unemployment, all these things. he really represented the views of the people. And we congratulate him for this objectivity. So the problem with NRM is this.
He was an opposition mole in the NRM.
You can't call me an opposition mole. How can I be? How can I be? How can I be? How can I be an opposition mole when I was given a mandate by my people?
You were planted there by the opposition.
No. So on about that, I would like to congratulate you for remaining focused and principled. There are some members of the parliament I've seen, the 10th parliament, even in the 9th parliament. They act like opposition people, they speak like opposition people, but when it comes to time of elections, they go back to NRM. This NRM, which they have been criticizing the policies of, they have been criticizing their actions.
This time round,
without changing it, you go back and you bring back the same NRM to power. What kind of person are you? So thank you for consistency. Yes. If the people of Maracha are to reward people, they must look at things like this. Consistency. This is the best thing. For me, I don't want this thing of jumping here, jumping there. I must remain steady in the philosophy and in the direction where I am.
Honorable Rian Wakumake, this time, the other time, in 2016, we saw the DP selling off his soul to go forward. This time round, are we seeing you doing the same thing? Whom are you contemplating to sign an MOU or selling the DP soul to?
You earlier talked of alliance.
Yeah, I know.
Now you are contradicting
No.
To a saying. I think, my brother, the thing is, let me be straight. In 2016, I mean, the Democratic Party was among other parties that sat together and said, let's build a coalition. The challenge they faced was about the frameworks on how it should be formed. They started late. I remember the President General of the party by then also was not very, very healthy. But he struggled amidst all that. And then even FDC was in. Actually, all were in. Only that for FDC, the leader was whisked away in one of the last meetings that was supposed to galvanize it into having one.
And you know why?
No, I don't know.
It's the reason I'm telling you that alliances do not work.
No, that cannot be justification.
The reason
I don't think so.
You need to accept this.
No, I am a political scientist.
Best Day was not a young chap. He took a right decision.
But it did work.
After knowing that this animal called TDA was not going to work.
No, I think the most important thing is, coalition building has challenges. As you know that the grounds are not level. By the way, we are talking in the peripheries of these issues. Ever since NRM came to power, they never came to level any playing field.
They never.
And yet they said they went to the bush to correct all the mistakes.
Of the past.
In a situation where the level ground is accessed, where you do not even fight about, getting electoral laws put in place properly. You have seen how he struggled. To the extent that Niaga has to go for a private member's motion for electoral reform. But they came and then said, no, we are reforming. Then they put one word to amend one word, independent, to mean independent electoral commission. It was just
when the appointment and every other thing.
If you know that the playing field is not level for you, why do you keep on walking onto the pitch that you know that is not leveled for you?
You see, in actually they say that a dog does not run all its lifetime forever. There's time that a bulldog will one day stop. What we need is consistency. If you are chasing a buffalo, don't give up.
Yes.
It will reach somewhere where it will
it will fall.
But if you say, let the buffalo graze and go. So for us, we should not say, because now it is very difficult to change the playing field, let us throw all our spears. No. This struggle, as we used to say in Young Democrats, that this struggle is our life. It is not easy. We may not be the generation to deliver.
If we abandon the playing field, then
we may have the fourth generations in future to
but
say,
also in military science, they say that it's only a stupid commander who cannot internalize the strength of his opponent, and he continues committing his troops on a battlefield and are being killed. A good commander, there comes time when you see that your enemy, the other end, is more stronger than you, you withdraw. You cannot keep on committing lives of your soldiers onto an enemy whom you know that is stronger than you.
If the
So doesn't that make your argument null and void? Why do you keep into a game where you know that you don't have the strength to wrestle down the enemy?
If the principle you are stating was to be followed, then President Museveni will have probably not been president.
But you are losing. You have kept on losing.
Listen, because between 81 and 83, they were battered badly. Yes,
that's true.
That's true.
That is true.
But they never.
No, I was using it as an. I'm meaning in this kind of democracy. Why do you keep on engaging yourself in an election where you know that the playing field is not leveled for you?
No, we need all justifications. Because for every inch that you move forward, regardless of the challenges, you move.
Yes.
And for me, that is the best way to do it.
Yes.
Other generations will get over us and take over.
Yeah.
Now, my brother.
So we don't need to
gentlemen, let us first have a short commercial break. When we turn back, we can proceed.
Okay.
Well, thanks. We are back on air. Gentlemen, we went into a break when it was a heated argument, but we are now driving into the last minutes of the show. Something weird happened this week, last week, but has not come to the attention of Ugandans. Some officials from in Denmark, from our embassy, were recalled on account that there was a video that leaked. It was a meeting involving Danish officials with Ugandan officials, and when the video leaked about what was discussed, the act was treated that whoever was recording that video was an opposition guy. And officials at our embassy in Denmark, some of them have been recalled back. What do you make of that? Because yesterday we did see also the speaker calling for investigations into a corruption scandal over the renovation of the proposed renovation of our embassies in Brussels, where $10 million are being allocated for just a mere renovation. Let me start with your children.
Well, corruption is the trademark of the national resistance movement. The amount of money that Ugandans have lost in the 35 years of this administration, if recovered, every Ugandan will see their welfare improving. So really, to say small dollars being talked about in Denmark becomes a big issue, foreign affairs thinks they will use it to whitewash the endemic corruption within the national resistance movement is a joke. Corruption is part of this government, and they know that if it is stopped, they will go. So really, the speaker's pronouncements, they're not systematic. It's just about cases, case by case. But what we know is there's an endemic, systematic way of corruption in this government. Dr. Kizza Besigye has always said, when they came to Kampala, they all had nothing. They were in rags. But today, if we ask each and every senior official in this government how you acquired your wealth, we will not have officials in this government.
Do you find it strange that a video leaks in a meeting of Danish government officials and Ugandan officers at our embassy in Denmark? At the end of the day, the Kampala-based government recalls some of the officials here.
For me,
do you find it weird? Let us start with Honorable.
I sit in the Committee of Foreign Affairs. And I even led a delegation to Brussels on behalf of the Committee and Parliament to actually do a fact-finding on how that embassy should be supported. That is the Brussels ones, where you talk about the 10 billion. So I think before I talk about Denmark, for Brussels, we are still to find out. Because you remember I even put on the floor of Parliament when I came back a report that urgently required government and Parliament to appropriate supplementary to support the renovation of our embassy, which is one of the most magnificent embassies built by Idi Amin. In 1975,
a man whom they said had no vision for this country.
Idi Amin, out of the coffee boom, just said, we need to be in the center of European Union. By that time, it was called EEC. Amin built in the center of Brussels and a 5-storied building. That is the building that hosted the Zimbabwean celebration of their independence in 1980. All African embassies went for a cocktail in the Ugandan embassy. And if you see the building, it's not a joke. With lifts and everything else. In the early 70s. Now, from that time, when we went as a committee, we found furniture as they were bought by that time. Everything as they were bought.
When did you go? Which year?
We went last year.
Yeah, this Parliament.
Yes, this Parliament. So, I think for Brussels mission, I find it surprising because we pushed for 5 billion first. And then another 5 billion, I think, was sent. The first 5, they started with the renovation. Now, I don't know what has happened to the second batch that was dispatched. We need to find out. Because for me, I was surprised when I read that actually Brussels mission needs to explain. And yet they needed money. Most, the Belgian government wanted to demolish our embassy. On our cost, as government of Uganda.
So weighing on the Danish
So now, going to the Danish, you see, I don't know even why we call it a leakage. Because why is it a leakage? Because you say that the video leaked. That means
there was a leakage of the video of a meeting.
It is very strange, those are all words for corruption. The video leaked.
Which means it was supposed to be secret.
Yes. So, for me, it is very shocking.
ICT is beginning to defeat them.
It is very shocking, and if that is true, it is not good, even for our ambassador who served in UAE. In UAE also we had a problem when we went for the Dubai Convention. The same issue came to our ambassador in UAE that prompted her to be transferred to Denmark. Now I hear the second thing coming. So that comes back that how do we get accreditation for our representation in foreign missions? Is where the problem is. You do not pick anyone who has never understood what diplomacy is. And someone, because I lost the election, or is a friend of who, should go and represent the interests of Uganda. We have lost on that front, and that is why we are representing this country at a capacity of 20%. You talk of Ochege in Nigeria. Where do we get this capacity to? Where? diplomacy in this country, if we don't invest in it seriously, we are sending people who are embarrassing the country and we are losing it out.
Can I hear from you, Honorable?
It is high time we be reviewed the entire accreditation of
foreign
personnel
mission.
in mission.
Now, for me, first of all, I would like to thank the person who leaked that information. And that's the best way to defeat corruption. Everybody should fight wherever he or she is. If you notice anything going wrong, take charge. And bringing out that information is a good thing. So this person who leaked that information should be congratulated. Secondly, there are areas which are very critical, which should not be joked with. One of which is this one of diplomacy and foreign mission. This is the face of Uganda, the face of the government. And it is good now that this has happened, this corruption has happened outside Uganda. Let the Europeans know. Because they are the ones supporting Museveni's government with the money. The thing is bad. In Uganda, it is rotten. So when you can see it outside there, the next time we come to tell you that we want to change this government, you will believe us quickly. Actually, this is a good opportunity for us.
But you do not have the capacity.
The way forward is this. I would like to appeal to members of the Forum for Democratic Change and all the members of the opposition to remain focused. Study the history of the ANC. When did the ANC start the liberation struggle to get the people of South Africa out of this problem of apartheid? So long ago. But they did not abandon it.
1912.
1912. They worked for many years, and they have reached today. They have got a political independence.
Honorable,
the struggle must continue. We are going to do it.
That marks the last shot of viewers on the show. Well, we have come to the end of the show, and I thank my guests who have managed to make it. Honorable Archidri James, Maracha East, Honorable Leandra Komakech, who no longer wants to be called the Gulu Municipality MP, he wants to be called the Gulu City MP.
No, I'm a transition leader, sir. Gulu City.
All right, then Honorable Caps Fungaro Hassan, thanks for joining me on this maiden show, and we promise to put out the best to our esteemed viewers wherever you are watching us. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.